Hello and welcome to the Nikki and Ryan experiment. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Ryan.
And we have a special guest today, or tonight, I should say. Old man Murphy's in the house.
Nice intro you guys got there.
Like it.
I know. Murphy actually put all of that together.
All of it, yes.
So Murphy, we just want to go ahead and ask you what your platform is about and what people can expect from your content.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Old Man Murphy, and I'm an alcoholic.
Cheers.
I got to do it every time now. What you can expect from my platform, I'm mostly active on TikTok. I'll stick to major headlines, political opinions, a lot of mental health stuff, a lot of dad jokes. I'll have a lot of good fun. I like to educate and entertain, so there's a lot of humor that's mixed in with it. I get a little bit of my frustrations out, but that's my biggest platform. I also live stream every Saturday on twitch.tv/WellHeyProductions. You can check me out. I just play video games, have a good time, and I get shit-faced. And I don't have to really perform for anybody else, so it's okay. I don't have to drive anywhere. So that's pretty much what I got.
That sounds fun, actually. Awesome. Thank you, Murphy, so much for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you so much.
So I just had to start with, I have my blue hat on, and it's going with my Biden shirt for the Georgia runoff. So we just had to plug it up front. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow's the big day. I watched John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock today with President-elect Biden, and they very good speeches. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. So if you're in Georgia, you know anybody in Georgia, and you haven't voted yet, please, please, please go out and vote, because we need you desperately.
Yes, we do. We need you out there, not just to make Mitch McConnell, take his voice away, home, but also because David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are terrible people, and they only care about the money. They don't care about the people. Case in point, I do want to talk about, and I'm sure that most of you on here have already seen the photo of David Perdue. Now, there was a lot of, talk about it being photoshopped and that it wasn't a real photo. It is actually a real photo, and he admitted that it was a real photo, but that it meant something else. I'm sorry, guys. Have you ever done the number 3 like this before? Never. I've never done the number 3. Maybe this
yeah,
or this
3 like this, that. Or
I've never done that. Mine's always been this way.
Yeah, I have never, and all 3 of them do it. That's kind of highly suspect in itself. But I do, if you have not seen it, I just want to show you the picture. This is a legit picture from the campaign trail. Here we go. Right there. Right there. Yep. Excellent.
3 what though? Like, okay, if you're
they were saying like 3,000 something. I don't buy it. Nobody holds their hands like this when they say 3. That's not that. I mean, it's obvious. It's blatant.
It's like all the people that were talking about the cabal are actually members of a cabal, walking around.
It's like Pence talking about how homosexuality is, like a terrible, terrible thing. But we all know that,
I mean, there's 2 things I could get out of that photo. Is like number one, if they do say it's 3, then maybe it's the 3%. And if you guys don't know about the 3%, that's the 3% of American colonists that stayed loyal to Great Britain. So why is that something to be proud of? Number 2, in American Sign Language, this means asshole. So
it does.
So
it does.
It fits.
And but here's the thing, and you guys know I have covered this on TikTok many times, this freaking hand signal, and people are like, oh, look at the other, Democrats doing it, and all this bullshit. It's a dog whistle. It's called a dog whistle for a reason. It doesn't mean shit unless you give it power, unless you give it some kind of reference. So people go, oh, what are they doing? Like why are they saying okay when everybody else knows exactly what they're doing? That's why it's called a dog whistle. It doesn't have any power unless you put a meaning to it.
There's only one hand signal I've seen liberals do, and it's this one.
We love that one. I do it all the time.
It's kind of It goes with when they do that. It goes right there.
Oh yeah.
It fits right together. So.
Oh my goodness.
And
okay.
This is why we don't broadcast to my Twitter page.
Or mine. Yeah.
I'm gonna get taken off of YouTube anyway. So that's
YouTube. No, YouTube. I think we're
YouTube's
good.
pretty. They're pretty cool. So is
well, that and our show has
Instagram. So
and our show has what's it called? A warning.
Oh, it
like
does.
yeah.
What does
our show?
Oh, our show. Oh,
yeah, I put a warning on all of our on all the.
Perfect. For
that
no one under the age of 42.
Yeah.
We might be talking about geriatric shit. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so now, like the breaking news today, we wake up to, the leaked phone call with Trump to the Georgia Secretary of State.
Yep.
It's like an hour long, and he goes back and forth. He's like giving him all these flatteries, and then he's like mob style kind of intimidation, and it's nuts. I actually have a clip here that I want to show everybody. It was something I had posted earlier, but it's just listen.
Have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts?
No.
You sure, Brian?
I'm sure.
You should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't. No, you're off by hundreds of thousands of votes. You know what they did, and you're not reporting it. That's a criminal offense, and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. That's a big risk. But they are shredding ballots, in my opinion, based on what I've heard.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yes, please.
Hearing that man say my name makes me cringe. Okay. The whole time, every time he said Ryan, I was like,
discussion.
The photos that went along with it, those were choice.
Yeah,
you like that? Yeah, I put that together.
This tape is very disturbing, I think, for anybody who is paying attention and kind of understands the history of this country. At the end of the day, this shows that he's trying to strong arm an election. He's trying to strong arm a state to swing his way. He literally gave the number of votes that he needed to win. And it's like, come on, we only need to find like 11,780 votes. That's all we got to find, man.
Nuts, which he said was one over what they needed.
Yes. So now the FBI is involved because two Democratic House members.
The two Dems, Ted Lieu and Kathleen Rice. They were House Democrats. They were like calling for his head, and they said, and I quote, he was engaged in solicitation of or conspiracy to commit a number of election crimes.
And what's important to note about those specific two representatives is that they were both prosecutors before they became representatives. So these are people that are well versed with the Constitution, the law, and how this all applies. So these people know what they're talking about.
They're not talking out their butts. They know exactly what has been done and what needs to happen. To remedy.
They know that it was wrong. It's against the law.
And AOC actually had something to say. She said it's impeachable.
Yep.
It obviously is. I mean, come on. And then Senator Dick Durbin, he's the Democrat in Illinois. He said merits nothing less than a criminal investigation. And I totally agree. I don't even know how this guy's gotten this far.
Well, and this goes on to Fitness Queen's video that she did today.
Yes.
About is Trump still going to be here come January 20th? And
did you hear about this, Murph?
Yeah, I saw her video about him possibly vacating the premises in a big hurry in a big jet plane.
Yep.
And
so so it's the big question is he going to go somewhere else? Is he going to stay in the United States? And I can tell you right now that while he has a ton of stuff stacked against him, this FBI investigation of this tape that I'm forgetting his name, but it was one big reporter who came out and he's like, these tapes literally
Carl Bernstein. I think I heard Carl Bernstein.
They rival the Watergate tapes.
Yeah, they're worse than Watergate. Yeah, this makes Watergate look like.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
My personal opinion is yes.
Yeah. So I was talking with Maria today, actually, Fitness Queen, and she had heard some other things. After she made that post, she found out that he actually had a plane scheduled in 2016. They all thought that they were going to lose, and they were all packed and ready to go.
Had their bags
and
packed.
He won.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard that. I heard that years ago.
Who was it? It was shit. I can't remember who it was that blew the whistle on this. And it was not Pompeo. It was somebody else. I can't remember. Shoot.
No, but
it started with a P.
Well, one of the other people that came out and said it was
maybe it was Pompeo. I can't remember.
God, what's her name? She was on the TV show Black Lady. Omarosa Manigault. She came out after they let her go, and she came out and said that. She came out and confirmed that. So for whatever that's worth. For whatever that's worth.
His last ditch effort. He knows he's not going to win. He is trying to scramble as much money as he can before he flees the country.
But Nikki, you just said it, man. You just said it. Sorry, but they're trying to get as much money as. Sorry, that was bad. But they're trying to get all these people are donating even more money right now because they think that they think this is how they fight, which, I'd much rather you guys donate your money than go out in the streets and be stupid. Yeah. But I'd also like to see you not donate your hard-earned money or the money that you could really use right now to this guy who is going to take your money and run. Yeah. Okay. There's no chance of him overturning the election at this point. So stop sending him your money.
Yeah, the whole $615 million that he just took right from this fund, this re-election fund, and gave it to his kids. I mean, why are you still giving him money? I mean, of course they're saying that's fake news and all that. So it is like a cult-like mentality. I mean, it doesn't matter how much truth, and it doesn't. I mean, when they started turning on Fox News, and now they're going for OAN and Newsmax, and now Newsmax has had to recant all of the stuff
because of the lawsuits. Because of the lawsuits,
yeah. And then that's reputable journalists don't have to recant stuff over lawsuits.
No. Well,
they don't,
at least not on a daily basis.
Right. So, but here's my question. Okay. Is in the future, we know that he's going to pull something. He's going to leave. He knows that he is facing so many indictments. Okay. Let's say he jumps on a plane and he gets the F out and he just leaves high and dry. Mm-hmm. I am curious to hear what his base has to say about that. Do you think that they will still continue to support him, saying that we put him in a witch hunt and we forced him out, and that's all he had? That's all he had left to do. What are your thoughts on that?
They're going to make him a martyr no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Honestly, I think they've shown that they're not going to buy anything, and they're so. Now, I will say this: I don't think it's the majority. I do want to say that I don't think majority of people have bought into this, but there's definitely a large group of people that will point the finger at Democrats and liberals and anybody that doesn't side with Trump and say that we were the problem. And like Murphy said, I don't think it matters what we show them, what we say, what we do. They're just going to say, nope, we're backing this guy.
Yeah.
And I think some of it too is not being able, some people just not being able to admit that maybe they got it wrong. Yeah. That maybe they voted for the wrong person. You know, that maybe the last 4 years really have been that bad. And I feel like some people, like when I argue or I debate with people, it feels like arguing with somebody who just refuses to say, you know what, you're right. I got this one wrong.
Well, they're brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's like arguing with a drunk 4-year-old.
Yes.
And you think about it like that. I mean, you could say, okay,
aren't all 4-year-olds drunk? I mean, not from alcohol, but just from life.
Yeah. I mean, you say you need to go to bed or you're going to wake up tired. I don't want to go to bed. I've had this argument with my daughter so many times. You got to go to bed or you're going to wake up in the morning to go to school and you're going to be cranky. And I want to stay up. I want to watch TV. You got to go to sleep. And then every 5 minutes gets out of the bed and you got to go to sleep. Yeah, you're the worst dad in the world. Ah! And then she finally passes out and then she wakes up cranky. It's like, told you. You think we're?
Oh, Murphy,
I can't throw him in the furnace. I can't throw him in the furnace.
It'll get better. It'll get better.
On the grid. She's on the grid. They know I have her. I can't.
I'm gonna use that one. Nope, they're on the grid. Yep, they know they exist.
You guys are funny. So let's steer ourselves back here.
Yeah.
The House GOP is shocker standing behind him on this and coming to his defense.
Yep.
You know what? I honestly think with everything that has been going on with the Republicans, that these people that continue, I don't even want to call them Republicans anymore. There are many Republicans that are disgusted by his actions. I'm going to call them Trumplicans.
Yes.
This is a Trumplican nature. This is the mindset. And these particular people are severing themselves from the Republican Party, and they are leaving the Republican Party shattered.
Yeah.
And the Republicans know, I mean, look at Lincoln Project. They're like, we have a lot of rebuilding to do because he has just destroyed the Republican Party.
Yep. I don't even know if they have if they're going to have enough time, resources, and manpower to rescue the Republican Party. I mean, I grew up thinking that Ronald Reagan was decent until I grew up and realized, oh my God, he did some pretty horrible stuff. But at least there was some leadership qualities there. I mean, of somebody I listened to a while ago, I can't remember who, but it was during George W. Bush's presidency when, he's fool me once, we won't get fooled again. I can't remember the rest of the phrase. And we thought that this guy was just a bumbling idiot. And then somebody said, we're really not going to appreciate all of the presidents that we've had, good or bad, until we have a supervillain president. And now look at the situation that we're in. And Bush doesn't seem that bad of a guy. I mean, you said it before. Nixon's Watergate doesn't even seem that bad compared to Trump.
No,
I mean, they're all a cakewalk, and they had a gentleman's understanding. Trump doesn't. He takes what he wants in all facets of life.
And here's what with the House. Yeah, I agree. Well said, Murph. But with the House GOP coming to Trump's defense, I think it's even more disturbing than that. It's that they see that 72 plus million people still voted for Donald Trump. That's a huge base of people. That's still the second most people that ever came out and voted for a president. So when these Republican representatives that, are only there for the power, like Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, Devin Nunes, who's the dumbass in Texas, Ted Cruz, they're only there for the power. They're not there to actually do what's right for the people. They're really good showmen, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're just pieces of garbage, and they're empty suits that are there for no other purpose. Yeah. And so they don't want to lose this huge base of people who clearly, there's no other nice way to say it. I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm going to say you're ignorant. And that's nicer than saying you're stupid.
That's
ignorance can be fixed.
I love how a lot of the Trump supporters on TikTok will actually say that, say, hey, you're supposed to be the tolerant left, and then you're supposed to be, you're all accepting. And it's like, look, we're just calling you stupid. That's the nicest thing we can say about you.
Yep.
Yeah. Like legit.
But it's a shit show, and that's putting it nicely.
Well, it's frustrating, and we all three of us as creators on our platforms and across our platforms, mostly on TikTok, we just bang our head against the wall making these videos, trying to, give them some sort of insight as to really what's going on, and they don't care. They don't want to hear it, and they just come after us even harder, and report our shit. But it's really infuriating. I've honestly gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm just done with you people. Like I just can't.
Who made your day? But who made your day yesterday?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you all know this. I was having a real shitty day yesterday.
Oh, yes, I saw this one.
TikTok was taking my shit down left and right yesterday. So I'm appealing. I'm like, that's it. I'm done, TikTok. I'm done. I got to take a break. I look, Rosie fucking O'Donnell started following me yesterday. And I was like a kid in a candy store. I could not even believe.
What's her sign off? Like, TikTok won't stop. Something like that.
TikTok, you won't. No, yeah.
TikTok, you don't stop.
Yep.
TikTok, you don't stop. Now I've watched her for years. My favorite movie when she fucking goes off in that like convenience store, like the drug store, when she's and you fucking mooks, and then like she's going through like just because pubic hair is so unruly and all, and like she goes through this whole thing. I can't tell you how many times I've watched that throughout my life. Just that part.
I used to watch her day show when I skipped TV, and and for me, my favorite movie with her was The Stakeout. So The Stakeout
that was
2.
really good too. Yeah,
I love that movie. I thought she was good.
I fell in love with her when on VH1's Stand Up Spotlight, when she was the MC for that, and I always thought she was the most hilarious. I thought she was fantastic for that, and then I never
She's very funny.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Ooh, League of Their Own. Somebody in the comments. Yeah, I forgot about League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. Gosh. Yeah. She's just very I don't know what the word is. She's very charismatic. Like you're drawn to her. You're drawn to her humor. Her delivery is so spot on.
And like, I love her platform.
And Trump hates her, so that makes it that much better.
Even more
the whole thing about her she hated Trump before all of us did.
Yeah, she's the original Trump hater.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, well, speaking of people that don't like Trump very much, we're going to move on to Gabriel Sterling in Georgia, who gave an amazing press conference today. If you didn't go see it, Nikki went and found you a couple of clips, thank God. But if you didn't go see this and you want to go see the whole thing, it's the best 18 minutes or so that you're going to spend today, I promise you. Gabriel Sterling, I Want to Have Your Children. That was amazing. Thank you for reinstilling a little bit of hope in me for the Republican Party. I pray that we find more Republicans that step up and lead that are like you and that will stand at a podium and freaking roast his own party, because that's what is right. He was calling it out. He was saying, I don't see a president ever treating a Secretary of State this way. Like standing up for his boss. I loved it. It was beautiful.
Fantastic. Ryan actually called me and was like, dude, did you see that? Oh, that just made my whole week. Like it was so cute.
It was awesome.
So with that being said, we are going to show you a clip. Now, this was a pretty long, it was maybe a half an hour, 35 minutes.
It was a lengthy one.
It was pretty lengthy, but this is a part that he is just like smacking, and it is cut up a little bit because he forgot, he didn't know, he couldn't remember to say probation. So I kind of cut that space of time out because it was boring to watch.
We can relate to that though, can't we, Nikki? When that happened, I was like, yep, I know.
Okay, here we go. First clip.
Let's go over the numbers of the president's team is claiming. We have a little chart over here. They're claiming there were 2,056 felons that voted. Our research, and we have better data because we're tied to the state government on this, Department of Corrections and probation. There we go. We know exactly how many people voted for this. We have an hour bound of 74 potential people who were felons voted. What that means is that's the biggest number it could be. We will investigate and find out some of these people completed their sentences. Some of these people have the same name and birth date, so there'll be some crossover there. So 74 is the hour bound. It's going to be lower than that. So let's be clear about that. Then there was the claim that 66,248 people below the age of 18 voted. The actual number is 0.
So I know, right?
Dude, it was
the whole time
doing the sign language. The guy doing the sign language, he was like, I'm going to put so much stank on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was too. He was great.
The guy doing the sign language. Like usually they tap out halfway through. He was up there the whole time.
He was feeling it for sure. But if you guys get a chance to watch this, we highly recommend that you go and watch the whole thing, because he's like defending. This is why people were saying we're destroying ballots. These were ballots that were like in boxes. You have to have like a 10% number of like ballots that are they're tied. They don't mean anything unless you do something with them. These are the ballots that people were seeing. They're right there the whole time. Like he was just going through and he was just like debunking every single
accusation that they had made, and he debunked it.
He
right
debunked
there.
it all right there. Bam, bam, bam.
Every freaking one.
This is the same guy who actually said it needs to stop now. Okay.
Yes.
Same
guy.
Same guy. Yes. This is going to be the second time he goes viral.
Oh, man. I love him.
I love him. I absolutely love him. He's amazing. And and if you guys that are listening and watching right now, if you don't know what we're talking about, when Trump when this all first started, where Trump was making all of these false accusations about the election being fraudulent, he was basically inciting his base in a violent way. They were starting to get violent. They were, and this guy, holy crap, you need to go look at that one too. If you just look up Gabriel Sterling, you will see him go off. It was amazing.
Gabriel Sterling, my body is ready.
Yeah. So here is another clip. This was the end of this press conference. When he was asked, this was a mic drop. And I love the pause because you can hear before he answers, he's very thoughtful. We're not used to seeing that anymore with Trump. Mm-hmm. He is not thoughtful whatsoever. No. This man thinks about what he wants to say and just does it in such a way that is friggin' perfect. So turn up your volume. It might be a little low. Sorry about that. Here we go.
Do you believe that what happened in that phone call was an attack on democracy?
I'll leave other people to make the decision on that. I personally found it to be something that was not normal, out of place, and nobody I know who would be president would do something like that to a Secretary of State.
Bam! Right there.
Just the pause and
thoughtful.
Collect myself. What's the word I want to use? Oh yes, dumbass.
That's pretty much how he signed off at the very end. Like at the very end, somebody asked him something, and he was just like, "This is ridiculous." Like
it was ridiculous. It's just what he said was that he just thought it was ridiculous that he has to explain in detail how the democracy works, and he called Trump out as to like how he has made people not believe in the voting system. He has completely turned people off from it. And this was the most secure election in American history.
Yeah.
I think the it happened right after the general election where they started to realize, okay, there's going to have to be a runoff election in Georgia. And they were just starting that, and they were just starting to that train was just starting to leave the station. And then all of these registered Republicans in Georgia were like, well, wait a minute. We got to have another election. The president is saying that it's a fraud. It's phony. It's all fake. It's, so why should I even vote if it's already been called? And then I believe the Republican national chairwoman, she had to come in and said, no, it's all real. So they're like trying to get themselves out of this corner that they've backed themselves into because they're too chicken shit to stand up to this guy. Yeah. And now they're screwing themselves because they didn't have the balls to do it before. Now, well, what are we going to do? Is it, they're spinning, they're trying to lie over a lie to put another lie into a sandwich and then maybe pass it along as a truth. But when you open it up, you say, oh, well, that's mayonnaise. I didn't ask for that shit. It's just this complete
thanks for never going to eat mayonnaise again.
It's just it's like you catching your kids lying, and then they lie to lie, and then lie to get out of that lie, and lie to get out of that lie, and then all of a sudden it takes a lot. It takes a lot less effort and time and energy just to tell the truth. Yeah. And do the right and do the truthful thing, because then you don't have to spend all this energy. You could just say, well, yeah, we lost the presidential election, but we still got to focus on the Georgia runoff. So let's just move on from that. He screwed him by being Trump.
I think a lot of it, yes, they have fear because he is terrible, but it all is rooted, whatever he says, whatever he spews out goes right to his base. They're more afraid of his base, a million times more afraid of his base than they are of him, because they know that whenever he says anything, his base takes it to heart. They turn like a pit bull. I shouldn't say pit bull. Not all pit bulls are bad, but they turn like a tiger that is caged in a corner. Like they just turn on people because he gives them that call, like, okay, this guy's no good, go after him.
I saw this one interview. I can't remember what show it was on, but a guy who was in a rural area. You could tell by his accent he was in the southern United States, but he was just being interviewed about how immigrants have changed the landscape, changed how society works, and he's just spewing out Trumpism after Trumpism after Trumpism. And the interviewer just keeps on asking just normal questions like, well, you say that, but what do you mean by that? And he got himself into a corner that he just said, get off my property now, and just chased everyone out. Yep. And he started throwing stuff, threatening them with violence. And then, the camera crew in the interview, they had to leave because, they were being threatened. But you see that. That's exactly what we're seeing. We're at that point where the cornered rat is now starting to show its teeth, and
they don't want to listen to reason.
Yeah,
they don't want to meet you in the middle and talk about it.
And with that said, and cornered rats, let's transition into Trump's participation trophies that he's handing out today, and that would be the Medal of Freedom that he's giving to Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes, which you can see here. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. It was bad enough when he gave it to Rush Limbaugh, but now you're going to give it to Jim Jordan, Mr. Ignoring sexual assault allegations, which that seems right up Trump's alley, right?
Oh, it does.
Sexual allegations? Yeah. What?
What's that?
When you go on national, this is according to Devin Nunes. If you go on to national television and you admit, we're going to actually engage in ballot harvesting, which is bad, to say the least. If you're going to go on national television and say, we don't want to, but the Democrats have left us no choice, we have to cheat. A Medal of Freedom for what? Logic?
Oh my gosh.
The Jim Jordan one, my thing is, what are you setting them up for? You're setting these two individuals up for something by giving them this medal. Mm-hmm. Like, I truly believe that. Yeah. Because Jim Jordan, he doesn't have enough sense to wear a suit jacket to work. He pisses me off. He's just a horrible human being. The allegations against him when he was at Ohio State are bad enough, but seeing his testimonies and his willingness to say pretty much anything, I think that's what's got me upset, is that clearly he was a talking piece for Donald Trump, and this is his participation.
It is. It's his award for being his ally. It has nothing to do with the fact that he earned it, because he didn't earn it. If anything, he should get. No, there's no way.
And so with following that logic, I can see why Devin Nunes would get this Medal of Freedom, because if you smoke enough pole, you're gonna get this medal. What the heck has Jim Jordan done for Trump except I could see maybe Matt Gaetz, just because he was an actual in front of the podium saying, we're going to go in that room and see how they're doing the impeachment trials. That we all know how they're supposed to be run, but he's got his head so far up his ass, he's smelling Big Macs. But I don't understand Jim Jordan. I don't understand what has he done except talk a mile a minute so you can't answer any of his questions.
Mm-hmm.
And be rude and interrupt you when you actually start getting into what you need to get into.
Exactly.
Well, no wonder Trump likes him. It's his MO too.
So while we're talking about crazy things that we're all having to deal with, we also the National Guard was activated in DC for January 6th.
Yeah, I think today's Monday, so I think they're going in tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, you're right.
They start tomorrow. They're sending in 300 troops.
Yep.
Now, from what I heard, they're not going to allow them to be armed. They are there to assist the local police, who will be out there in force. Every single working police officer will be on the street, along with these 300 military or National Guard guardsmen to help, stave away the violence and to keep it peaceful. I don't know. I just know that I feel like something's brewing, in all honesty, because it was what's his face? What's his name? He's in there. Not Mark Meadows, but I can't think of his name. It's going to pop in my head, and we're going to be on something completely different. And I'm just going to yell it out like Jumanji.
Why she's thinking about the name. She's going to come up with it. We always do. But what I want to say is that, everybody that's going to listen to this later, tonight, whatever, please do not go down there. It is not worth it. There's nothing to be gained for Democrats and anybody that doesn't support Trump to go down there and engage these individuals. So please, I am asking you, please stay home. Don't go down there. Don't antagonize these people any further, because like Nikki said, I truly do feel like we are on thin ice. Why the Constitution does not support what these people are doing. There's a lot of radicals out there and extremists right now. And we need to try to pat these flames as much as possible. So please, on behalf of myself, stay home and don't antagonize these folks anymore.
Yeah.
There's the bad thing. There's good and bad. I mean, I'm trying to look on the positive aspect out of the last 4 years. I'm trying to look on the positive aspect of all this, that all of these new rules and regulations and maybe amendments, are going to have to be written, because we never in 250 odd years of being a country thought that anyone this despicable would be at the helm. So now we said, well, now we have to write, clauses for, if this happens, and we have to, if this happens, or if this happens, should we actually put a kind of like a congressional police in force, so that if, representatives in the House and senators start disobeying their oath, that they are physically removed from office. And, does this stuff need to happen?
Well, I think it does, unfortunately. But I think also we need to remember that if they would have simply enforced what was already there, if they would have followed through with the impeachment, if the Republican senators would have set an example, thank you, and a damn good precedent, I might add, they would have voted and gotten this guy out back in February, but that's not what happened. And unfortunately, those of us who were predicting this to be catastrophic, because he was not out, we were right. I hate to say it, but we were right, and you see the country is imploding upon itself right now politically, and over COVID. So it's scary, emotional times.
I want to touch on what you both said. With that being said, the gentleman's handshake isn't applicable anymore. It can't happen anymore. That was taken away. Now that is something that should have been taken away a long time ago, because we were bound to get a fearmonger, dictator wannabe in the position that, he is in right now. And with every single month that went by and all this stuff is coming in, and he goes through the impeachment trial and he gets away with all of this stuff, and it's just like one thing after another. We have become so desensitized to this man and the things that he's not even a man, he's a monster, to this monster, and what he has done to our country. If you look at the starting point to the end point, holy shit, if you were to start and go right to the end, it would be like you would be twisted up in a ball of like nerves. It has been happening so ever gradually, but steadily going up. And it seriously boggles my mind that he has not been removed from office.
It's like a Bezier curve. It's like a Bezier curve of just bullshit. I mean, it started off slowly, with like 2016 and 2017 and then 2018 and then 2019 and then now it's just like this vertical line of all of this
rocket ship
baloney that's happening every single day. And I look forward to January 22nd, 21st. I almost lost my time already. On January 21st, where the headline in every newspaper, the headline does not say, guess what Trump did now.
Serious.
I'll be able to just open up the paper and just go, and this weight will be lifted off my shoulder. There's that scene from Rick and Morty where they both just start unloading and crying and sighing. Yeah. I can't believe we survived. Oh my God. And it's just, oh my God, it's over. It's finally over.
We're going to open the newspaper and it's going to say Biden wears gray suit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm
ready for the boring days again because it is insane. But I don't know if you guys have gotten this from your followers or the people that troll your page, which by the way, I took your advice, Ryan, and I've started blocking these mofos that go on there. I just block them every time they put a nasty comment, block. So did you get this where, well, what are you going to do when Trump's out of office? You're not going to have anything to talk about. And it's like, as long as this mofo is alive, we're going to have shit to talk about. Trust me.
It's not like the world, as soon as January 21st comes around, the world of politics and current events isn't going to stop.
Right.
Not only that, but Trump has a lot of enablers that are currently in the system that we need to pay attention to when this is done too. So, we may not be talking about Trump himself every day, but we are going to be talking about the problems and the loopholes that he has shown us for months and maybe even years to come.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, just because we're happy that Biden is going to be the president, I'm going to still hold him to the same standards.
Yeah,
if he screws up,
I'm there to call him out on it.
I'm hopeful that he won't, because he just doesn't seem like the guy that's going to. But if he does, I'm gonna be right there and say, okay, hold the goddamn phone.
We have to. We can't be biased. We have to.
Well, and I don't want to personally be a hypocrite. I don't want to. I don't want to constantly have my tweets thrown in my face and be like, oh, so when Trump did it, you thought this, but when it's Biden, no. Like, I'm gonna hold. Like, dudes better. I'm expecting a lot. I expect more out of my party than less, to be honest. Just like
your family, you have higher expectations for the people that you love than the people that you don't.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, the bar has been set so low.
Yeah.
It's having a president being able to get through a speech without saying they didn't give me any credit. Or they
never do.
Me.
Never do.
That's so funny.
Having to go through one speech without it not being about him. If we can get through one speech, the bar has already been lifted.
Yeah.
That's so pathetic and low.
It really is. When I hear Obama speak now, or I hear, some other person, doing a speech, like having a speech, and you're just like, they're so eloquent, they're so very focused, and there's a lot of feeling in there. And it's just so wonderful to watch. And then you hear, fucknuts, like totally trying to speak. And you're just like, what?
Did he have a stroke like the second day in office?
Seriously. I mean, he's lost his ever loving mind.
He never had it to begin with.
But it's just gotten worse.
Oh, yeah. This is a good time to transition into the second main topic of the night, which is going to be mental health. Having Murphy on here was kind of an idea because Nikki and I want to focus on other things besides Trump and politics. The show is going to be bigger than that. So we want to take the opportunity to discuss mental health, because if you didn't know, I personally deal with mental health on a daily basis because I'm bipolar. So for me, this topic hits close to home, and I came up with some questions to stimulate some back and forth conversation with Murphy and I, and then of course, Nikki will throw in too, just to kind of, get some awareness out there and let you guys know that, you aren't alone, that, whatever you're dealing with, our roads are very similar. and the destination's just usually the same. So with that being said, Murph, I want to ask, when did you realize you were struggling with something more than, you know, the normal ups and downs?
Let's see. Well, when I was in grade school, I had a therapist, but I was under the impression I was there for a completely different reason. It really wasn't until later, like my, I want to say my late 30s, that it just wasn't because I was, oh, you need to, like, because I mean, my folks would just say, oh, you just need to cheer up, or you just need to get over it. And then I'm like, it's not what I'm going through in my head. It's not right. I shouldn't have these basic trust issues. I shouldn't have these basic, you know, worries that, I mean, I worry about stupid things that that a lot of people just wouldn't consider that you worry about. Like, I worry about, like, oh my God, I hope this one person sees my video and then all will be that kind of stupid stuff goes through my head.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, I was doing well. I was maintaining most of it. And then, you know, it came to like a head, like in 2014, when, this other online, community I was a part of, it kind of came to a head, and then the top was blown right off, and I was doxxed, and I was, you know, publicly humiliated, and I was just ridiculed for like a straight year. Everyone thought that I was like this horrible individual that was capable of monstrous things, and it turned out that it was just the other person making up all this stuff. But all of the stuff that happened in my childhood just came flooding back. And then I remembered, it was, it got really, really dark, like suicidal thoughts and attempts. And you guys think I drink now? No. I mean, we're talking about, I used to, you know, just down bottles of stuff. But now it's gotten a lot better because I'm seeing a new therapist and everything like that. But I mean, it's still a work in progress. It's always going to be a work in progress.
Yeah. I think that's the,
thank you, Murphy,
I think that's the thing that most, you know, that I try to drive home to everybody is that it doesn't go away. You know, one, like, now that I know what I have and what I deal with, and I can look back, you know, at the last like 15 years and go, okay, yeah, I was struggling with that for a while. And here's this, and this, but you still deal with it every day. You may be dealing with it better than you used to, but you're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
And what you said, you and I actually have pretty similar ways. Actually, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong back in like 2004 when I was in the military, you know, but I didn't know what it was. And the doctor at that time, because I was active duty, said it was adjustment disorder. So I said, okay, you know, and basically just said it was stress and whatever. And as time went on, it was getting worse, and I was self-medicating, you know, and then I lost my dad in 2007 and my world freaking imploded. You know, every coping mechanism that I had was stapled to my dad in some way. Yeah. And so, like, just that shifted everything for me, and not in a good way. And then I started, you know, I was having back issues, found pain medication. So for me, it was pain pills instead of alcohol. Yeah. And, you know, 3 years later, you're realizing you're not just taking your pain, you know, your physical pain away. You're taking it to numb, you know, the thoughts that you were talking about, to slow them down, or just to be numb. Yeah. And for me, that's what it was. And so, but as far as a diagnosis goes, I think it was 2016. And Jen, my wife, she looked at me and she's like, you know, you need to go talk to somebody. Like, this isn't normal. Something's up. I can't help you. You know, I don't know what this is. Yeah. And so I called the VA and got in there pretty quickly, thank God. And it took them 2.5 years to diagnose me correctly. Okay. And they came up, I was suicidal, like you. My whole life was falling apart. I was about to lose my job. And it just, everything was crashing down. And she called me in and she's like, well, come, let me see you right now. And so I showed up. Her and another doctor did their thing, and they're like, yeah, this isn't normal, just depression or anxiety. This is something else. And they asked me a series of 17 questions. And those 17 questions, at the end of it, I said, well, what were those questions for? And she goes, those are the questions we would normally ask somebody to see if they were bipolar. And they're like, the only way to really tell, to know for sure, is to take you off the meds you're on, switch you, onto these meds, and then see how you do. And within that switch, it was probably about a week. I was like feeling so much better. And so that was 2018. Now the kicker is that in the beginning of 2018, I had 2 back surgeries. In the beginning of 2019, I had my colon taken out for precancerous polyps and stuff. So in the middle of all of that, I'm also dealing with, just figuring out what's going on with my mental health, why I lost my job. Every single thing in the government that was supposed to help me and my family didn't. They denied me unemployment twice. They denied me Social Security. They denied me everything, because
the U.S. government.
This is why I'm getting into politics, because of how I was treated.
I didn't know that.
When I needed, nobody does, because I haven't really talked about it yet. But that's what got me into this. I had served this country, and I served the government for another 12 years as a contractor. And then when I was no longer useful, I was no longer physically able, then it was, well, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we're not going to help you. All those programs that you paid into.
You're disposable.
Yeah, you're disposable. And not just that, but we're not going to pay you the unemployment that you've been paying into for the last 18, 20 years. We're not going to give you the Social Security that you've been paying into, even though you qualify. We're going to look at your wife's income and say that you guys make too much money, even though I just lost $4,500 a month in income, into our household, with no other assistance. Right. So I got my car repoed. We almost lost our house. We were sleeping on my best friend's floor, me, my wife, and kids in Utah, because we had nowhere else to go. And you know what I mean? And this was just a couple years ago. And now you look at me and it's like, yeah, we're doing good, but it's been a really tough road. Yeah. And the mental health aspect of it has been 75% of my success, because if you don't have that mental health under control, or even better, if you don't know that you're dealing with it, is even worse. But me figuring that out, and the doctors helping me figure it out, and me asking for help, just changed my life. I truly can tell you, not only would I be divorced, probably not able to see my kids because I was not stable, and probably would have taken my life by now. And that's just the God honest truth.
Yeah. With my situation, when I started going, when I started going back to therapy, my wife pretty much just gave me an ultimatum. She said, "Hey, I know something's wrong. You need to talk to somebody about it. If you don't talk to somebody about it, I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving." Yep. And I mean, my kids are pretty much, one of my best things about my life. And then for her to do, I mean, I wasn't too thrilled the fact that it had to come to that, but it had to come to that for me to actually, I need to do something about this. So yeah.
But doing that, doing that, that's one of the things I want to drive home us talking to is asking for help, doing the work.
Yes.
Like you said, I wasn't real happy that I'm still not happy that I'm there. I'm not happy I have to deal with this every day.
Oh no.
But I'm very thankful every day that my wife didn't give up on me. I'm thankful that she put me against the wall, and said, look, for the good of our family, you need to go get yourself straightened out.
Exactly.
And so like what I hope people realize is that men deal with this every day, and when we were raised, and you and I were raised kind of around the same time.
Yeah. Boys don't cry.
Boys don't cry. You don't talk about, your feelings like that. And now we're seeing the damage that decades of that has done.
Yeah.
And hopefully, these conversations and these being open, like you are, and hopefully this will start us moving in the right direction and progressing us into, it's okay for men to not be okay. Yeah. It's okay to admit that, you're not the strongest man in the universe, and, you're human, and, or even better yet, you may need help. Like I said, I had to call my best friend up, and say, hey man, we need help. And
you need to, the stigma needs to be lifted.
Yes. That's the good thing about being open and honest about, that you're not, that you are broken, that you're not 100%, you're not this macho bullshit man, is that you actually gain more strength, and people actually see you as being a stronger individual for being able to say that of yourself. Like, I can tell you right now, I go to bed, and I'm gonna let this one out there. This is probably going to be TMI, but it's I don't, and this is one of the big things that I still struggle with today, because of my depression and my anxiety. I can't go to bed at a normal hour. I have to stay up until the wee hours of the night, because, and I do that so that my eyes just get so tired. As soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out like a light. Yeah. If I just go to bed at a normal time, like a normal human being, my mind will start to wander, and I will start having these brutal, vicious nightmares about something happening to my kids that I cannot control. Like, we're out walking the street, and then, they try to cross the street on a crosswalk, and then just a semi just mows them both down. And then I jerk myself awake. I'm and like another 15 minutes, I got to calm myself down. It's night after night after night. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I deal with. But
and that goes into the next. Well, no, were you going to finish something?
Yeah, I was just gonna finish it. Yeah, and a lot of people say, how can you just talk about that openly? So, because if I talk about it openly, it reduces the stigma, and you don't see it. Oh, well, it's not this taboo thing that you're not supposed to talk about.
Yes,
you can't. You talk about it, you get it out of your system, and that helps me a lot. Just not. Because 9 times out of 10, if I'm having like some internal struggle or something like that, I've already figured it out. I just want to talk about it just to get it out, so that it doesn't doesn't fester. It's not like, you put so much in the bottle, and every time you get upset, it shakes up the bottle even more, and you put in more, and you shake it up more, and you shake it up. Me, like, just venting and get it off my chest, that eases the pressure so that I don't explode or I don't do anything rash. So it's talking about it, open communication. I fully support, just that's why I always have an open door policy on my DMs and everything like that. So
and it's funny, what was it? It was yesterday, wasn't it? Yesterday was 14 years since my old man passed away in 2007, and I ended up calling Nikki, and we were I think we talked about business actually, but I ended up mentioning it to her, and we ended up talking about my dad for like 20 minutes or something like that. And I didn't even realize that I needed to talk about it, because I honestly, I'm dealing with it so much better than I used to. But it was like, as we were finishing up the phone call, it was like, wow, I didn't realize I was going to talk your ear off about my dad today, but like you said, that opening up, that talking, and just having that friend there to listen and be like, oh, wow, and just hear it and take it in. And that letting that out. And I feel like TikTok for me is that sometimes too, with the political stuff. Me too. Because I get so I'll start shaking sometimes. I'm honest when the political stuff happens. So like, I'll go do my TikTok and be like, what the fuck? And then I'm able to just kind of like, okay, I let that one go and put it out in the universe.
There's some
and
times
Ryan Rants was born.
Yes.
Sometimes with if something's really just digging at me or something like that, or I'm upset about, whether it's political or if it's just, mental health or something like that, I've seen some people try to do it, and it comes across as passive aggressive a little bit. It's like, well, someone so-and-so didn't say this to me, so blah, 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 blah. And it's not so much that. I'll like, I'm feeling kind of like this thing down here that maybe other people have experienced. So I'll try to generalize it, and then I'll just put it out there. And then the comments just like, oh my God, I didn't know, I thought it was the only one that felt like this. I'll get so many comments like that. And that's both, I'm glad that I helped them, but at the same time, that helped me because you don't feel so alone anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you hit the nail on the head, is that so many people feel alone and they feel ashamed. And when we reach out to one another, I struggle with that. I've struggled with anxiety. Like, it hit me in probably my early 30s. I'm 47 now, but nothing like what you guys have gone through. But I just ignored it for so long because I felt like there was this stigma attached to it. Like, well, I'm just crazy. Or, if I say anything, people are just gonna be like, oh, she's crazy, but now I really think there's been a push to normalize mental health, especially now in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So many more people are, really struggling right now.
I've heard a lot of my friends, they're having such a hard time. I have a couple friends down in Arizona, and they I'm not you, right? Other friends. Yeah. And both of them. One of them is gender fluid, so she is constantly she is constantly dealing with body dysmorphia. And my other friend, and they're married. She deals with anxiety and depression through childhood trauma. And not being able to be social with everyone and go out and do the things that they normally do, it's really been hard. But the good thing is that they have found ways. They've improvised, they've adapted, and they've overcome. And that's the main reason why I love Heartbreak Ridge. That's one phrase that stuck with me that whole movie. But I mean, they figured out ways how to deal with not being able to be social, but they're dealing with it, they're coping with it, and in constructive ways.
And I think that's really important, because that's different than saying, oh, suck it up or whatever. Look, we're all in a really crappy situation right now, and I'm struggling too. I'm not getting to go see my therapist like I normally do, things like that. I don't have my normal coping mechanism, so I'm just like them. I'm struggling too. But fuck, I lost where I was going to go with that.
I can tell you right now, TikTok has got, oh my God, has it helped? Just being able to keep the, I think it's just being keep the creative juices going. Yeah. And just being able to, it's because I mean, I know you're talking to the camera, but at the same time, it just feels like you're talking to a whole audience, and the comments, they're just going back, and you can have a dialogue, and that so you still got that social aspect. It's just not face to face. So
you're distracted. When your mind wanders like that, you need to be distracted, because or else your mind goes to these defaults of very bad thoughts and things that are self-destructive. Like, it's the same thing with the anxiety thing as well.
And for me, there's even another level to it, which is getting into public life and politics. I wanted to take everybody's power away from them over me. And what I mean is, I didn't want there to be a bunch of skeletons in my closet, mental health, whatever, that people were going to be able to come out and be like, oh, see, he didn't tell you that, or he lied to you about that, or whatever. Nope.
You got it. Laid it all out.
I'll tell you anything you want to know about me, anything that I deal with, because I'm not ashamed of it. And I know that I'm not alone. And I think that the representatives of the people in this country need to start looking more like them. And the fact is that there are a lot of people in this country that struggle with mental health. And so we need people
more so than not.
Absolutely. And there's so many different things. When we say mental health, I hope people realize that's not like, oh, just depression or just anxiety. Like, there is a laundry list of things that people deal with, from OCD to ADHD to, I mean, the list is forever long. Oh yeah. So, so many people deal with this stuff, and representatives are probably dealing with it too. They just don't feel comfortable coming out and saying it because they're afraid of the backlash. Yes. And I want to be a part of the next generation of politicians and representatives that, you're not going to be able to hide a lot of this stuff. So you might as well lay it out. That's kind of how I feel. Exactly. And hopefully we get more representatives to start to do that. And we talked in the beginning of the show about people losing faith in the system, in terms of Georgia and that awesome press conference Gabriel Sterling gave today. I think that this is a way that we that we instill some faith in the system again, and get representatives out there that can get folks excited again. But to do, on top of getting them excited, I think people need to feel connected, and like you're not pulling one over on them. And majority of the people after
trustworthy, you need to feel trustworthy and like they can relate and relatable.
Because here, and Nikki, we were talking about this one too. She can tell now when I'm starting to get spun up, and most people can. And I was telling her, it'll happen and I can't even control it. Like I'll get spun up, and the next thing I know, I'm I'm harsh. I'm just very matter of fact or whatever. And I don't even realize it. And the next thing you know, it's like people are like, whoa, dude, hey, and I have to take that step back and cool down and be like, oh shit, yeah, like I kind of lost it there. And it's just, it comes over as passion majority of the time, but every once in a while, that bipolar side of me, that mental health struggle pops out, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So I think the best thing for me is to help others like me, and also just be honest about it, so that when it does happen, instead of people, like you said, the negative comments, instead of them just roasting me, hopefully more people will be a little understanding and be like, okay, he's having a rough day, like, I'm still not going to say anything half as bad as Donald Trump, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think our country as a whole needs a little bit more empathy toward each other. I think the empathy is really thin right now. And I think that we need to find our way back to being nicer, I guess, if you will.
If Joe Biden does one thing, I hope he brings a more empathetic face to the country. A little more compassion. I mean,
I think he already has.
Well, I mean, the clips that we've seen, when I can't remember if it was the first or the second debate. No, it was the first one where Trump dared to bring up his son's coke addiction. And he said, my son had a problem and he confronted it, and he succeeded, and I am very proud of my son. And that I honestly, if you looked at Trump's face after that, you could say, like, well, that one kind of backfired, because everyone's like, how dare you attack?
There are no limits for Trump. No. He'll attack you at the lowest of the low.
There's that other clip of him, Joe Biden, he's shaking hands, and then the little boy just runs up to him and gives him a hug, and then he kisses him on the forehead, said, thank you for hugging me. I said, that's what we need.
Yes.
That's what we need in the White House.
Yes. Yep.
We do.
I totally agree.
And I think we're headed there, and honestly, I don't think it's just Joe Biden. I think it's the cabinet that he's setting up. And I'll keep saying it. Kamala Harris has me extremely excited as well. So, I'm hoping tomorrow goes our way in Georgia, because if it does, that opens the door for a lot.
You're in Georgia, vote tomorrow, please.
Because if we take the Senate, guys, that opens the door for a lot of things to be fixed in the next 2 years.
Yes.
Like it really does. So yeah, once again, we'll plug Georgia. Please, guys.
Yes. Georgia.
We need you. So with that, I'm going to end on this last question for you, Murph. In terms of mental health, what's some advice that you wish somebody would have given you when you were struggling to figure out what was going on?
It's going to be okay. Not so much that, because a lot of times when I was just, really getting down and really down on myself, or, going on a bender, or, just locking myself in the bathroom and then just debating, I should just swallow the pills and then you'll go to sleep forever and it'll all be over. Just for someone to just give you a hug and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's kind of like that scene from Good Will Hunting when Robin Williams said, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault."
That scene makes me cry.
Just I still can't watch anything with Robin Williams.
Yeah,
it still hurts too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely it's going to be okay. It's not as bad. I mean, yes, you feel alone. Yes, you feel that there's no way out. It's a dark room with no visible doors and no windows, and you can't see which way is which. You don't know which way you're going, and you're too scared to actually take a step to go in that direction.
Yep.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Yep.
That was powerful. Sorry.
No,
Ryan, how about you? That was beautiful, Murphy.
Man, I think for me, I'll say what I always say, which is it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
You know, it takes way more strength, in my opinion, to admit that you may not be okay, or that you may be struggling with something out of your control, and to decide to go get help. I think that takes far more strength than it does to continue, down the road that you've been going down that has led you to feeling this way. So yeah, I think it would just be, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help, and like Murph said, at the end of the day, you will be okay. And here's the thing too, like Murph said earlier, I cannot express how many times this situation has happened where somebody, for whatever reason, they canceled plans on me, whatever, which I've done to people. I can't even count how many times, but they'll be like, "Oh, I don't feel well," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay." And I'll be like, "You know what? Actually, I'm having a really bad mental health day." I was like, "So that works out pretty well." And they'll be like, "Oh, like really? Well, this is what's really going on." Like the minute I'm honest and I'm like, this is what's going on with me, they feel safe, and they're willing to open up about what's going on with them. And then like Murph said, being able to talk about it with somebody who can take that in and understand it, it does something for them. And Murph and I know what that does. We know that feeling of somebody just listening and understanding, what's going on.
There's too many people. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm very hesitant to actually talk about some of these things, because there's so many people that when you're talking, they're only listening to respond. Or like you say like, "Oh, well, this happened and this happened." "Oh, well, you had a bad day. Well, listen about me." And they turn it into a competition. And then it's just like, well, I shouldn't even said anything in the first place. Yeah. I mean, that's so much way worse than what I was going through. I feel stupid now for even opening up my mouth. And then a lot of times that's happened. And I'm just like, well, why even bother talking? There is a lot of people just, they're listening only to respond instead of listening to understand.
Yeah.
And that's
And that goes for myself. Like like the self-awareness and understanding myself part of it. I wish more people would take the time to understand, what exactly, we're dealing with. I envy people who don't deal with this crap. Like, I wish I could get up every day and have like none of these issues and just be able to, pound out and do what I want to do. Like, I would be far bigger than I am now, but I struggle, and therefore, here I am. But
it's almost like ignorance is bliss at this.
Yes. But because now I realize how hard it is every day. Like I didn't know, like before it was just it's just your day. But now that I've seen a better way, now that I understand that this is not normal, that what I deal with isn't normal. It's just a struggle that doesn't go away, that I wish I could give more people insight to, because I think it would help them not just understand me better, but understand, everybody like us that goes, like I said, our paths, like Murphy and ours paths are a little bit different, but the destination is pretty much the same. You know, we have very similar struggles. We have very similar issues that are caused by those struggles. But his reason that he got there and mine, I think, are, you know, his is more.
It was an event that
more of an event based, and mine is a little more biology based. You know, and knowing those differences now enables me to take care of myself better. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
You guys, thank you for, I mean, that's bearing your soul, but you're also building a community that can feel safe with you and with us, and that we understand, you know, some of us more than others, you know, but thank you so much. That I know how difficult that must be, but also how very rewarding it is that you are inspiring people that are struggling with what you are struggling with. That takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage. I just, you guys are amazing. Thank you.
Well, thanks for sitting back and letting us talk.
Absolutely. You didn't think I had it in me, did you?
You know, I will say I was impressed. I will say. I'm not going to pay for that later, am I? No, you know, I'm sure that Murph and I will probably, because like, I want to have more discussions around it, and you know, we did this one kind of off the cuff. Like, we wrote down some talking points. That was about it. So Murph and I had really never talked about our mental health struggles together. So I would love to dive more into that, you know, another time. Because honestly, we were going to spend the whole episode on this pretty much. We were going to do like 2 little talking points, and then we were just going to spend like an hour talking about mental health. But then all the stuff happened today.
Yeah, all this stuff happened. So we'll have to
look forward to no more days of like,
right.
News by fire.
Yes. All right, guys. So you guys, thank you again. Do you guys, there were some beautiful comments in here to you guys and to everyone. Like they feel your pain. They're struggling. They know people that are struggling. So with that, guys, you're listening. Any last questions or things that you want to talk about before we go? Let's see.
And while we wait for that, we're going to be back on Thursday of this week, and it'll just be Nikki and I for that show.
Right.
If you don't currently follow the YouTube channel, please go over and follow Nikki and Ryan there. And you can also please go subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Spotify. And then
we hit the charts.
we're on the USA charts and the global podcast charts.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Nice.
I'm most excited. Yeah, I was pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So, and with that said, the episode is one for the books. Thanks for touching on this. Oh, thank you so much. Murph, you wanna plug your show here?
Sure. I'm still an alcoholic. I haven't changed.
We love you.
Love you guys too. Let's see. You can follow me on TikTok, and of course, link is in the bio. I got links to my website, my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube. I finally put my YouTube channel on there. I also have my link to my Twitch stream, which is free. And then we have lots of fun, and I do giveaways and yay prizes, because free stuff is always awesome. On TikTok, it's always political, fun stuff, mental health, dad jokes. We have a lot of fun. Back to you.
And with that, if you can go follow my personal YouTube page, I would greatly appreciate that. You can find me at Ryan Shed pretty much everywhere. Just type my name in and I come up. And with that, Nikki.
Yep. Hi guys. I am pretty much Nikki New 813, NIKKINOO 813. Some people like to call me Nikki No, which I'm totally cool with that too, because no. So Nikki New 813, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. But YouTube is the Nikki New Show. So you can find me on there. Now, if you type in YouTube Nikki New 813 or Nikki New, it pops up first. So you can find me there. Sorry. No, but you guys, seriously, everybody that has joined us tonight, thank you so much for being here. Murphy, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being on here. We love you to death, kid. We're here for you always.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love you, brother.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
And thank you everybody for listening and the kind comments and everything. Like we do open up but it's not always the easiest. So your comments do make it easier on your support. Thank you. Much love.
You guys. Mwah.